What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now, this video, I'm going to take you guys through my team selection for the upcoming Game Week 32. So actually just a normal Game Week 32, no doubles, no blanks. It's going to be a straight single Game Week. Finally, one of the most normal Game Weeks in a while. So let's take a look at how I'm going to get on with my transfer plan. As we usually do, going to start off this video with the review of double Game Week 31. Still one game to happen tonight, which is going to be Burnley versus Everton. All you Weghorst owners hoping for that hat-trick is going to come, won't it? I think maybe a yellow card is a bit more of a certainty, unfortunately, tonight against Everton. We're then going to move on to my transfer plan, and finally, I'm going to give you guys an update to my chip strategy after the doubles for 36 and 37 were confirmed. So that's something you guys are interested in? Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over our Game Week 31 team, as I mentioned, still one game happening tonight. Everton versus Burnley, a massive 6-pointer. Hopefully Weghorst gets more than 1 or 2 points, but I'm pretty sure there'll be those of you in the comments if you're watching this tomorrow that will remind me of what he did. But luckily, Game Week 31 was actually a pretty good game week. We managed to get a green arrow up to about the 11k mark. At 200 places, actually above the 11k mark, kind of creeping closer to that top 10k, which hopefully we'll reach by Game Week 38. Starting off with the bench, we have Forster here with 2 points. Actually benched Forster instead of Ramsdale, as you guys will see in my starting 11, and Forster actually outperformed him. I just thought that Ramsdale had a better chance of a clean sheet. That wasn't the case. Forster, though, did end up drawing his game, but unfortunately with one save less than getting an extra save point. Trent on our bench, we did get news about that before the deadline. There was some sources, some reliable Liverpool sources that told us that Trent was going to be out, or at least that Joe Gomez would be right back. So I did end up benching Trent, and he also didn't come off the bench though, even if I did start him. Breuer with only 2 points, a little bit of a lackluster performance there against Leeds, and actually a little bit happy now that I did manage to bring in another striker, but I was initially a little bit worried about benching Breuer against Leeds, but he didn't get any attacking returns in that one. Saiss ends up getting dropped, so actually I took out Kilman, you will see, for Cancelo this week, but kept Saiss because I thought he might be nailed. But what happened was actually true. I think that Saiss and Kilman will rotate for Willy Bolly until they get a kind of preferred starting 11. So nothing really much to talk about on the bench. Let's go to our starting 11, where we have Ramsdale in goal there. Came back from that injury on Monday night against Crystal Palace. Didn't end up doing anything. Had a couple of saves. Actually could have saved a penalty. I won't lie, when Zaha stepped up for that penalty, and my heart was racing quite a bit because I just imagined the stars flashing around Ramsdale and him getting that penalty save. But that wasn't the case. Ended up going the wrong way, and Zaha had a pretty well taken penalty. Going on to the rest of our backline, Luca Digne with only 1 point. I think he would have actually ended up with 1 point anyway if he played the full 90 minutes, because Wolves ended up scoring 2 goals. But what happens with Luca Digne for the second week in a row? Goes off within the first 20 minutes injured, but I think in this game it was actually just stomach aches and not an actual injury. Cancelo, the player that we actually brought in, managed to get us 6 points against Burnley. Pretty guaranteed clean sheet. Do we just need a Cancelo to kind of start? And there was some speculation about him being potentially rested after an international break. But he ended up playing, got us those 6 points, and I was happy that I went with him over James, as that was my main transfer plan last week. Finally though, one of the best performers of our actual defense and our starting 11, it's going to be Doherty from Spurs with a massive 14 points. So unfortunately didn't get the clean sheet. Lloris kind of fumbled a free kick off Shaw, another player that's actually on our watch list. But if he did manage to keep that clean sheet, would have been an 18-point haul, which would have matched the likes of Reece James a couple of game weeks ago. But Doherty ended up getting a goal and an assist and a maximum bonus points. So great performance there, even though he did start as the left back after Reguilon failed a late fitness check. I'm just happy that Doherty is showing some good form because we need him in these upcoming game weeks, and I don't think there's any reason why Conte should drop him after these past couple game weeks. Moving on to our starting 11, we're going to start with Saka. Unfortunately, only got 2 points. Pretty lackluster performance from Arsenal against Crystal Palace, losing 3-0. Saka did get a couple of chances, had a penalty that was rejected that I thought could have actually been a penalty, but who kind of knows? We'll probably have some debates in the comments down below. But Saka only with the 2 points. Rafinha then with 5 points with an assist that he might have not gotten in any other game. I think there's a little bit of controversy there by non-owners because apparently, I didn't actually watch the highlights, but apparently he shouldn't have actually got the assist, but as an owner I'm always going to take that. Heung-min Son with 12 points, kind of complimenting Doherty, and the most important thing about Heung-min Son is that he outperformed Harry Kane. That's what we kind of needed him to do this week, and he did that with getting a couple of attacking returns. Son's home form is just so good at the current moment, and I think definitely if he has a home fixture, could even be a nice captaincy option in his upcoming game weeks. Kulusevski, like Son, also actually outperformed Kane, which I'll take every day of the week considering that he's kind of half the price of the English striker, but only in 1 assist for Kulusevski, but he is ticking along quite nicely over these past couple of game weeks. But finally, Mo Salah, the disappointment of the game week with only 3 points. I'm saying disappointment, but I guess at this stage of the season, everyone is going to kind of captain Mo Salah. So the ownership or effective ownership is going to be so high that if he returns or not, that doesn't actually matter. But I think the thing that's concerning me more is Mo Salah's form at the current moment just seems to be kind of a pace behind, taking an extra touch or two. Doesn't look like his usual self. This might be kind of a reflection after him losing the qualification to Senegal with Egypt. So only 3 points from Mo Salah, but like I said, everyone kind of captained him, so the gains weren't there anyways. And then finally going to our forward line, Lacazette, more like Laka threat. I didn't get forward that much, had maybe 1 or 2 shots in that Crystal Palace game, but overall, as I mentioned with Saka, attacking wise, didn't look that strong against Crystal Palace, and unfortunately nothing has come of him in these past couple game weeks. Same can be said for Weghorst, but I guess we knew the stats weren't great with the Burnley striker, so why did we bring him in? Well, it's going to be those double game weeks, which hopefully tonight he shows why we brought him in that Everton at home game. He actually didn't even get the usual 2 points against Man City after picking up a yellow card in the first half, so he only ended up getting 1 point, which is well below his 2-point average. But overall, pretty happy with the game week. Definitely the Spurs side saved me this week, and also choosing Cancelo over James looks quite good for game week 31, but how will it fare in the future game weeks? Let me know in the comments down below how you guys got on. Was it a green arrow? Was it a red? And what are you expecting from Weghorst or maybe a Roberts tonight in that Burnley fixture? But now shifting our attention to game week 32, single game week 32, I wanted to give you guys some context as usual before we talk about the transfers into just what's currently in my starting 11. Going over my bench here, it kind of picks itself. I've got Forster against Chelsea. I wouldn't play him anyways. Chelsea are going to look to rebound after that loss to Brentford. I have Saiss against Newcastle, which is probably a game that I would like to play him for, but when you do see my starting 11, I honestly don't know who I would bench. Luka Digne against Spurs, I'm just thankful that he's on my bench this week, won't be playing anyways, just that he doesn't have to come off for 1 pointer after getting injured in the first 20 minutes. Then finally Breuer, who is suspended from playing this game as he is on loan from Chelsea, so he won't feature anyways. Going on to the back of 4, we've got a Ramsdale on goal against Brighton, return against Crystal Palace. I don't really think there's any injury concern there. Is definitely the main choice at Arsenal, I would think. And therefore against Brighton, a side that are the XG kings, kind of get up a high XG but don't score. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen and Ramsdale can get a few save points. Doherty against Aston Villa side that are a little bit hit or miss. Against the better sides though, they are playing slightly better, so that does worry me, but I do think Doherty with the form he's in definitely has to start, and he seems to be eating attacking returns for breakfast at the moment. But now we get on to the tough fixture, and the reason why game week 32, probably the expectations aren't too high for this game week. It's because Man City take on Liverpool at the Etihad. So I've got Cancelo and I've got Trent both here. Now honestly, I'm not expecting anything from these two assets, and the reason for that is that the past couple games that Man City and Liverpool have played, both sides have usually scored. So I guess we're kind of hoping for attacking returns, and whenever we are hoping for attacking returns from a defender, they never seem to get some, but maybe Cancelo or Trent can sneak a clean sheet, or the perfect scenario would be a 0-0. But I just think both these two assets, both these two teams are just such high quality that I have to start both of them, but I could always bench one of them for Saiss. Going on to our midfield department, we have Saka against Brighton. A pretty good fixture there. I think Brighton haven't been defending as well as they have over prior seasons in these past couple game weeks. And therefore with Saka's form, hopefully he can get back onto it. And you must remember that Spurs and Arsenal are in this kind of top 4 race, and they have to start winning some games. Rafinha against Watford is actually a surprising one. Watford have become a little bit more defensively assured. We saw that against Liverpool. I kind of not really attacking that much, and I do think this game could actually be a massive 6-pointer, so I'm hoping for some goals at least. Honestly, I'm actually considering Rafinha as a differential captain just because I do think there'll be 1 or 2 goals, or at least both sides will score in this one. And I do think Watford have to go for this win as they are in the relegation zone. I'm then going to talk about Mo Salah before we talk about our Spurs double up against Man City, as a team that he usually has actually scored against in the past couple of times they've played. But I just think with the current form Salah's on, I don't have much expectations for him, but I do think he'll start. But as I mentioned, the form isn't there. Watched him last night against a Benfica, a team that he should be actually performing against. He was not at the races at all, and therefore I do worry when he comes up against a stronger defensive side. But finally, our Spurs double up in midfield, Heung-min Son and Kulusevski against Aston Villa. Now, currently Son is my captain. I just think the form they currently are in looks quite strong, and Aston Villa have been struggling defensively, so that's why Son is my captain at the current moment. But as I said, Rafinha is tempting me as a differential. And finally, going on to our forward line, kind of picks itself as well. Lacazette against Brighton, similar to Saka, they have to win this game, and I think against Brighton they could perform at the Emirates. And then finally also Weghorst against Norwich, also another 6-pointer here, so Burnley with back-to-back 6-pointers. And if he does score tonight against Everton, I'll have quite a lot of faith against Norwich. But this is my starting 11 currently, and the team honestly doesn't look as bad as I think I could have. But the thing about it is that players that don't have great fixtures are Liverpool and Man City, and I probably wouldn't take those players out anyway. But maybe there are some options. So kind of talking about those options, let's go over the transfer plan. And right off the bat, guys, the main plan this week is probably to bank a transfer. I'm not looking to free it in game week 33, so I won't lose that extra free transfer anyways. So currently banking looks quite good, and then we kind of approach double/blank game week 33 with 2 free transfers, but we might even only use 1 then. But if we were to make a transfer, as I mentioned, the players that don't have great fixtures are Mo Salah, Trent, and then also Cancelo. So Cancelo I won't take out because I just brought him in and Man City have a good run. Trent, I think he's one of the best defenders in the game and one of the best point scorers. But then we have Mo Salah, who kind of contradictory is also one of the best goal scorers ever in FPL. But honestly, I might be actually thinking about taking him out. And the reason I'm thinking about taking him out is that I just think Man City up next and then United in game week 33. I might consider another option with a double game week that I could captain. So yes, there are options like a Kevin De Bruyne, maybe a James Maddison, a Harvey Barnes, but I do think one of the players that's more secure to play 90 minutes every game week is going to be Bruno Fernandes. So yes, I might be going back to old Bruno in the double game weeks. If you guys do remember, a couple of game weeks ago, I did captain Bruno, got me a massive haul in that double game week. But he has Everton up next in game week 32, and then Norwich at home and Liverpool away in game week 33. So against Liverpool away, I'm not really expecting too much, but I think that's going to be an extra 2 points. But against Norwich at home, I do think United have to start picking up the form if they want to qualify for the top 4. So that Norwich at home game should be the perfect opportunity against a side that has to win to get out of the relegation. And therefore Bruno Fernandes might be one of the best options for that game week. But this will be more of a maverick transfer. No ways is anyone kind of taking out Mo Salah this week. This will be a very maverick differential move, as I said. But this might be the perfect opportunity considering the fact that I am a Liverpool fan and have watched Mo Salah, hasn't been on form, and I think that might be the perfect time to switch off before the Man City game. I guess I'm kind of playing both sides here because if I take out Mo Salah and he scores, I'll be happy from a Liverpool fan point of view. But if he does blank, as long as Liverpool do well, I'll still be happy from an FPL manager. But we've spoken about the form with Liverpool, and now let's talk about the fixture plan because I do think there might be some rotation in that Klopp front 3. So what I'm talking about right now is, as you can see on screen, I've got the schedule for the next couple games that Liverpool do have. Obviously, Man City up next on Sunday, the 10th of April away. They then travel back home and have Benfica, which should be kind of a comfortable game. I could honestly see maybe Mo Salah being rested in that game because they are 3-1 ahead. So that happens 3 days later. Then 3 days after that, they have Man City away in the FA Cup semi-final on Saturday. Then 3 days later after that, they have United at home in the Prem. And then 5 days after that, they have Everton at home, also in the Premier League. So while I don't think that Mo Salah might necessarily be rotated, I think his minutes might be managed in some of these games, but there could always be the occasional benching, but I do think it might come against Benfica at home. I guess I'm trying to convince myself to transfer out Mo Salah, but I honestly, when I look at the fixtures, I do think he'll start Man City away in both of those, then have United and Everton perfectly fine, but I do think there might be some minutes managed, and because his form is not great at the moment, I do think he's going to be rested in at least one of these games. But you guys can let me in the comments down below, probably roasting me about this transfer move, but as I said, the current plan is to bank one, but if I do want to go more differential maverick, I could always look at a Bruno Fernandes and captain him in game week 33. Let me know your guys' transfer plans down below, also how you got on in game week 31. Always like to see how you guys are keeping up in the Premier League seasons. But finally, I just want to give you guys a quick update on my chip strategy. So as I mentioned earlier on, I'm not currently planning to free it in game week 33. The current plan is either 36 or 37. I only have one free it left, and therefore I want to save it for one of the bigger doubles. As in my opinion, in game week 33, the doubles and the single game week players kind of contradict each other. So that's my update currently. Just wanted to keep you guys updated, but I'm going to give myself as long as possible. I want to see when that Man City double does fall, if it's going to be 36 or 37, and then I'll make a decision closer to the time. But this is basically wrapped up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for an ultimate guide potentially tomorrow. So drop any comments or questions down below and I will address them hopefully in that video tomorrow. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.